When I cast my mind back over the decades of research and expeditions, one of my earliest memories of the Yowie was in 1992, when I watched a TV news episode about a Yowie encounter in a remote New South Wales town they only referred to as Bark. The story was compelling enough for me to research this town on the maps, however it didn't seem to exist. The event transpired 2 years earlier in 1990, involving a young girl by the name of Julie Clark riding horseback down a sandy creek in a town called Krambach. While riding her horse, it became irritable and flighty. Sitting on a rock beside the side of the creek was a bipedal hominid that suddenly stood to its feet and was taller than the height of the horse. In shock, Julie galloped away, in fear, not looking back. In the small rural town where everyone knows each other, talk travels fast, like a schoolyard. And before the Clarks knew it, there was a reporter with a rather fertile imagination on their doorstep. He was from a trashy magazine syndication called Australia Post, which was a crude publication of super embellished titles and silly storylines. The reporter, who fails to put his name to the story, wrote an article to grip the readers. So let's just say facts weren't at the forefront of his journalistic talents. In the article, Julie's sighting became a story about two girls having a harrowing chase. And then a third child features, telling of rocks being thrown and landing at his feet. Once this story broke, Julie was the subject of ridicule wherever she went. Even her friends had turned against her. Sometimes just walking down the main street could result in harassment. So fast forward to 1992. The producers of a new TV show called The Extraordinary had stumbled over the article from 2 years prior and lined it up for an episode. It was agreed to by Julie's mother, the show was filmed, and it was somewhat more realistic than the magazine article. Here's how it went.
Julie Clark is an average girl, not prone to make up stories. But for a couple of years, country girl Julie has had to do battle with disbelievers. You see, back in 1990, Julie says she saw a monster. These are the gentle sloping hills around Krambach, a little village nestling in the mountain ranges, some 300 kilometres northwest of Sydney. It's real rural Australia, a quiet place with just a main street, a pub, a post office, a general store, and not much else. It's where Julie Clark grew up. She's an independent soul, a country kid who learned to ride almost as soon as she could walk. Julie's now 15, and according to her mother, not the kind of girl who'd make up a monster story.
Julie's a very sensible girl and very trustworthy and pretty well liked around town.
For centuries, man has been fascinated by legendary monsters. The abominable snowman, first sighted by Europeans 160 years ago. Bigfoot in North America. And the Yowie, which has been reported more than 3,000 times from one end of Australia to the other. Through these cool green eyes, Julie Clark saw what she believes was a Yowie, a hairy human-like creature. It challenged her, chased her, and burnt an impression on her brain, which is still as clear as any photograph. Julie is certain she's seen a creature from the unknown.
And some people, like, they don't even think, and, you know, they just laugh straight away and that. But I don't really take any notice because I know I've seen something and I don't see things.
It was a summer's day in 1990, a day that was to change Julie Clark's life. Julie's horse was the first to sense that something was wrong. It started to act up, snorting and rearing. Suddenly, Julie was faced with something unknown.
It was just looking at me, and then it just hopped up and started to come towards me. It was sort of like a gorilla or something, and it was sort of like a huge man, but it had hair all over it. Well, I was just really shooken up, and then I just quickly turned the horse, and I just turned around and just bolted home and just never stopped. I just went flat out all the way. its face was really ugly and hairy. When it went to stand up, it was, I don't know, it was heaps bigger than the horse.
Yeah, come on. Come on.
It's true some were sceptical, but not Alwyn Richards. He's lived in the district for more than 40 years, and back in 1976, he saw something, a vision that still puzzles him.
It was quite, a real dark blacky brown colour, I suppose. Very woolly, very shaggy haired. And the smell was a very stinking, more electrical sort of smell, than like a, I don't know, sort of hard to describe, but a very stinking sort of smell, something that's not natural, not a natural animal smell that you'd normally smell around.
And Alwyn Richards isn't the only one. There's been another remarkably similar sighting, a sighting by a local businessman. He agreed to tell his story, but he did ask to remain anonymous.
All the grass was completely flattened, and there was like a circle of trees to make a good hiding place for something, but all the grass was totally flattened, and there was a very strong, like a burnt bakelite electrical smell in there, and sort of sent shivers up my spine, and I hightailed it out of there too.
So, Julie Clark is not alone in seeing this beastly phenomenon, a phenomenon that no one around here can explain. Although the quiet surrounds of Krambach may look picture postcard perfect, there's one young girl growing up in this small rural community who believes with all her heart that there is a creature from the unknown somewhere in those hills.
And now today, Julie resides in a small rural town in Queensland, and I consider her to be a close friend. It's still a subject she's not comfortable talking about, particularly with strangers. Julie's story was very real, and the impact it had on her was extremely dramatic. I don't know why her story back in 1992 tugged at me as it did. However, I found out less than 2 years later what it's like to encounter a Yowie. Thanks for listening.